On this day, what is Juneteenth? Juneteenth, on that historic day, almost 155 years ago, on June the 19th, 1865, 2 months after the Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox in Virginia, Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, to inform the enslaved African Americans of their freedom and that the Civil War had ended. General Granger's announcement put into effect the Emancipation Proclamation, which had been issued more than 2.5 years earlier on January 1, 1863 by President Abraham Lincoln. The holiday receiving its name by combining June and 19. The day is also sometimes called Juneteenth, Independence Day, and Freedom Day or Emancipation Day. And so in the city of Augusta, it's equally important for us to recognize the contributions. Just a day ago, we celebrated the work that will take place at the Jewish synagogue and how inextricably linked the Jewish community and the African American communities are. And so on today, we celebrate. We take a time to pause and to reflect on how valuable the lives are of black folks, not just in the city of Augusta, but this nation and across this globe. And so, in the matter of this day, we are hereby recognizing Juneteenth Day in the city of Augusta. June 19th represents the symbolic and historical commemoration of the end of slavery, more than 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. Whereas Augusta, Georgia traces its history of slavery back to the end of the 18th century. Before it became legal in the state of Georgia, slaves were already here, coming across the lines from South Carolina. Augusta, Georgia ranked second among Georgia's 20 cities and towns reported in the 1850 federal census in terms of slave population. The city of Augusta witnessed a steady increase in slavery ownership through the slavery era. Whereas Springfield Baptist Church, founded in 1787, is one of the oldest independent African American congregations in the nation, and established in this congregation before the Civil War to include Springfield, Thankful Baptist, just down the road, Trinity Christian Methodist Episcopal, Central Baptist, and Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church. They all came out of Springfield. Whereas, despite their oppressions and subjugation, slaves in Augusta, Georgia contributed greatly to the foundation of the city's history and is the birthplace of notable African American educational institutions, such as the Augusta Baptist Institute, now called Morehouse College, Lucy Laney Haynes Normal and Industrial Institute, Haynes College, and I might add, the Georgia Republican Party started there at Springfield Baptist. Now, therefore, I, Hardy Davis Jr., Mayor of the City of Augusta, do hereby proclaim June 19, 2020 as Juneteenth Day in Augusta, Georgia, in recognition of the emancipation of the last remaining African American slaves, celebrating the history and cultural contributions of free African Americans to this country and to our city on this day. Happy Juneteenth Day. Thank you. I want to take a minute to thank Commissioner Fenoy for being a part of this ceremony, Commissioner Dennis Williams, and our solicitor, Ms. Amika Loggins. I also want to thank our team, our vistas, Ms. Kelsey Walker, Ms. Tiana Thornton, and Maria Cook, and Brandon Chandler for helping us put this together. As we were thinking on yesterday, we didn't have any real plans, and we were aware of only one event taking place in the city of Augusta, and that's a peaceful protest that will begin at 2 o'clock in what we call the Midtown area, right off of MLK. The contributions that have been made across this nation by African Americans and others, it's now our time, as we've seen peaceful protests taking place, to highlight those things. There's a reason why all across this nation, cities, Atlanta, D.C., Baltimore, Minneapolis, Houston, San Francisco, and others alike find themselves at this incredible time pandemic that has confronted us for over 400 years in this nation. Now is our time to come together and let voices have thoughtful, considerate, and earnest conversation about why Black lives matter. And when we talk about why Black lives matter, it's not just because Black lives matter. We commonly hear the retort, well, all lives matter. They do, but all lives have not been subjugated to the oppression of 400 years of slavery. So this is our moment as a community to not run from these conversations, but to come together as one Augusta. Blacks, whites, Asians, Latins, Hispanics, and everyone. Because this is the framework and the fabric. This is that patchwork quilt that makes our community the great community that it is. So to all of you who are here, thank you for joining us. We've got some food trucks that are here on campus today. We want to take an opportunity to enjoy that, connect, fellowship, talk about what matters most to you in this community of people from all races, from all communities. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you.